everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. You're going to dance until your feet fall off. You're not able to stand up any longer. But we're going to have a show.
Cat in town. Play cat.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. These are the words President Franklin D. Roosevelt said to the country recovering after Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was a tragedy that shocked the United States. We think of the mass impact it had on the entirety of the United States. It propelled the United States into a blazing fire of greatness and caused a chain of events that established the United States as a dominant power in the entire world. The attack on Pearl Harbor was the first time the United States had really felt the wrath of World War II. The ambers that were once soldiers in American vessels stood as a dire reminder that threats were real and should be protected against. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese Navy attacked a United States naval base in the then territory of Hawaii. The attack lasted for several hours and caused loss of life of over 1,700 sailors. Many of the American ships were either sunk or badly damaged. This caused the United States to enter World War II. The shock of this sudden attack resonated in the American mainland. A few months after the attack on the harbor, there was a fear that the Imperial Army would invade the United States. The media, such as radio shows and newspapers, published anti-Japanese propaganda about all Japanese people, even American citizens. Santa Barbara, California, a somewhat quiet beach town. Current home to 90,412 people, mostly elderly baby boomers. In 1928, the Barnesdale Oil Company opened a new collection of wells and a refinery. This field, approximately 19 square kilometers, served as a major producer of oil. This massive gusher spewed out an average of 1,000 gallons on the daily. On February 23, 1942, Japanese submarines began a bombardment on the Elwood oil field. The field was struck a total of 16 times before it finally submerged in the Japanese flood. This act sparked a fear of an impending attack by the Japanese army. The Battle of Los Angeles. On the early hours of February 24, 1942, many citizens reported seeing flying objects in the sky. At approximately 4:41 a.m., a total blackout was ordered. Thousands of anti-aircraft shells were shot. A brigade of 50 caliber machine guns started to fire. These continued all throughout the night as if a war was happening right here in Los Angeles. At 7:21 a.m., the Army and National Guard declared the area clear of any threats. The next day, residents of the area stated that their property had been damaged due to the bombardment from shell fragments. With all of the things that occurred from the previous night, the residents of Los Angeles were never given a proper explanation for all the military activity. The people, expressing their concerns, voiced their grievances at a congressional investigation in Santa Monica. Representative Leland Ford told the hearing, "None of the explanations so far offered remove the episode from the category of complete mystification." Up to this point, the United States government had simply given excuses, such as it was a false alarm or just an exercise. At first, all of the National Guard spotlights that were shining had made the suspected aircraft appear indistinguishable. At the time, the most popular believed that it was a Japanese spy plane, but many doubted this theory because of the fact that small planes during this era couldn't fly for that long of a distance. During this time, the longest distance made by a World War II era Japanese fighter plane was made by the Mitsubishi A6M0, which was 1,900 miles. The distance from Hawaii to Los Angeles is 2,651 miles, without being detained, so this would have been a suicide mission. Since it would be impossible for a Japanese plane to even get to the mainland, many conspiracy theories arose from the ashes of the bombardment. Many people, such as a resident by the name of Richard Blanson, said that it appeared as a surreal hanging magic lantern, and it was like the 4th of July but so much louder. The military was shooting like crazy on it, but they couldn't deal any damage. People that theorized that the unidentified aircraft was an alien vessel. After the events of Pearl Harbor, the bombardment of the Elwood oil field, and the events of the Battle of Los Angeles, the United States felt the immediate threat of the Japanese. They were the closest threat at the time, and intended on winning the war at all costs. It was unclear what happened in the Battle of Los Angeles. Perhaps it was a Japanese spy plane. Because of this, President Franklin D. Roosevelt cranked out Executive Order 9066. Unlike Order 66 from Star Wars, this did not kill anyone, but rather imprisoned thousands of American citizens. On February 19, 1942, the President signed this into law and gave the Secretary of War permission to clear land to construct internment camps. Then, towards the end of that year, the camps started to accept deportees of Japanese descent. It wasn't until the end of the war, in December of 1944, that Order 9066 was redacted. World War II was a terrible event that shook not only the United States of America, but the entire world. The event will forever leave a lasting impact on our world. The peace efforts since World War II have been successful.
Ow.